Hello there, here we are at St Mary's Island in North Tyneside. The Holocaust Memorial Day is the day for everyone to remember the millions of people murdered in the Holocaust under Nazi persecution and in the genocides which followed in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia and Darfur. And I just want to say to you that behind me you'll see the lighthouse in all its glory, and very shortly you'll see we're going to light it in purple. So everyone passing and everybody that comes along will know the lighthouse is like purple, because we never ever ever want anything like that to happen again. We have to remember year in and year after to actually gather together and just for one day to make sure that those atrocities never ever ever happen again.
Hello, I'm Kira Edwards, a 17-year-old A-level student studying at St Thomas More High School. I am one of only 2 Jewish students in my school, the other being my brother. What does one day mean to me? One day means a moment in time that is important to yourself, whether that is a birthday, bar or bat mitzvah, or wedding. But during the Holocaust, these happy days would happen less frequently, or not at all. This is saddening to think about when I look at my own life, knowing the happy experiences I have already had and the days ahead of me that I will look forward to, but knowing that people who lived through the Holocaust would never experience them. I would like to tell you about something that is important to me in terms of the Holocaust. And this started about 4.5 years ago. When I was in the process of preparing for my bat mitzvah, my Jewish coming of age ceremony, I was a participant in a twinning scheme run by Yad Vashem, the World Holocaust Remembrance Centre. The centre twinned bar or bat mitzvah children with a child victim sharing the same birthday or similar name who did not have their own celebration because they unfortunately did not survive the Holocaust. I was twinned with a young girl named Lydia Fisher. Lydia was born on January the 30th, 1934, not long after Hitler came to power in Germany. She was born in Bratislava, then part of Czechoslovakia, and is now the capital of modern-day Slovakia. She was one of the 15,000 Jews living in the region, and sadly one of the 9,600 who were killed. Lydia was transported to Auschwitz-Birkenau in 1944 and was murdered by the Nazis at the age of 10. I remember the day I received the information about my twinning. The moment I saw that she was only 10 when she died, I cried. She was barely younger than me, as I was 12.5 at the time. The sad reality shook me of how young children were when they died in concentration camps. I have chosen to remember Lydia and carry on her legacy so she is never forgotten. This left me thinking, what were the things that Lydia missed? What single important days are so significant to people's lives that she was not able to experience? So please, let me present to you a poem I have written, called One Day That Never Happened. One day, she could have been there on the Bimmer, reading her Torah portion to her community. But that day never happened. One day, she could have left school and forged a future of her own. But that day never happened. One day, she would become an adult, free from boundaries of parents with a future to step into. But that day never happened. One day she could have found true love and got married under the chuppah, but that day never happened. One day she could have become a mother and started a family of her own, but that day never happened. One day she could have got a job and started earning herself, but that day never happened. One day she could have become a grandmother, a bubba, and delighted in generations to come, but that day never happened. One day she could have achieved her dreams, but that day never happened. Each moment we live, each moment we experience is important to us, but for Lydia, those days never happened. One day she left her legacy for future generations to recall. That day is today. One day. Lydia was remembered by her older sister, who told her story to the world. With no children, the Fisher family line ended when her sister passed away. Today is my one day to do this for Lydia. Thank you for listening to Lydia's story.